Hi, I'm Lita Leapin.
And I'm Jim Gordon.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, we're actually out of the city for the first time in a while. We're over in the Shipyards district of Lonsdale Quay in North Van on a beautiful autumn day, Lita.
It is gorgeous, but we got a lot to cover on the show, so let's get right to Our City Tonight. We're here at Preston's in the Coastal Harbor Hotel, and I'm with Noli, who is the restaurant manager or general manager, I guess, of the restaurant itself, Preston's. This is such a great location, and in fact, we've never filmed here before, so we're really excited about that. And of course, as we like to do, we like to start with some excellent cocktails made by you today. You have quite a background. You're chef de cuisine as well. You've been a chef all over the world, kind of. Good background, but you also know your cocktails. So let's talk about these. You've made some beautiful cocktails. Let's start with this beautiful purple one.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for coming.
Oh,
and thanks
absolutely.
for making this very exciting year-end now, close to the year-end. So yeah, so these welcoming cocktails are for you guys and for everybody who comes in during the Christmas time. So the first one is a kind of like a remade mimosa.
Ooh.
Because as a company, we tend to use a lot of local products.
Good.
So gin is one of them being made locally, the Empress gin. So we're trying to like utilize that and market that around,
Wonderful.
especially for visitors. So yeah, so gin mimosa is the one where I put like 2 ounces of gin, and then I added some lemon and some sweetener. Then I finished it up with Prosecco.
Ooh.
So, and then the color of the gin makes the whole 3 color segments and separations. Yeah.
It really is beautiful
Thank
and fancy and great for the holiday time.
Thank you. Sure.
Let's go over here to this one. That was very interesting. You have a name for it, Thanksgiving drink, or Thanksgiving is forever. Let's just dub it that.
Yeah,
It's a very interesting cocktail. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Sure. So the Thanksgiving concept of it having a lot of sweets and get together, a lot of flavors coming together, that's kind of one-in-one drink in one glass. So it has a mixture of pineapple juice, orange juice, some sweetener as well, and a little bit of bitters like Angostura bitters, and then it has the dark rum in it. So yeah, so it's a little bit more into the sweet and
Very
bitterness
nice.
in it.
Kind of like a tiki drink in a way. Very nice. I guess I know who's going to be drinking that after. And one of the classics you also make here is a great Negroni, but with a local twist again. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, you're right. So Negroni lately has been kind of one of the most famous drinks around. So they're bringing back the classics.
They are, and there's a whole Negroni week that just passed.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah.
So we're trying to incorporate the local Empress gin in a mixture with Campari and Martini Rosso. So it's an ounce of 3 of them, so equal amounts. And you put the big plastic cube, just like to bring back the classics, yeah.
Nice, nice. And you use the Empress gin, again, but elderflower flavor from Empress in Victoria. So wonderful. Great that you guys are doing the local. Well, speaking of local, great local products used in your cocktails. You also have a great local wine list as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we are trying to use the Okanagan Valley and all the BC wines, which are great actually. So we're trying to have all the guests, all the visitors have a taste of the Canadian wine.
Wonderful, that's excellent. And speaking of excellent, we are going to sit down later on in the show with Chef Chris Jones and try the excellent food here at Preston's.
This segment is sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
He is an author and the curator at the Charles M. Schulz Museum and Research Center. His most recent book, which he co-authored, is Charles M. Schulz, The Art and Life of the Peanuts Creator in 100 Objects. We'll explain that title after I welcome Benjamin L. Clark. Benjamin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is a great pleasure, sir. I can't hide my excitement. Schultz, I've been a fan of Peanuts and Charlie Brown and the man Charles Schultz since I was like the age of 4 when I got my first one of these.
Hey, good.
I got a lot of those. I'll have to talk to you off camera about what I should do with them. I'd like to frame them all, to be honest with you. But let's talk about the title, 100 Objects, for our viewers. How did you manage, because I've been to your museum in Santa Rosa, how did you manage to whittle the objects, items down to just 100 to describe the life of Charles Schultz?
Right. Well, we settled on 100 as a number to publish the book in time for Charles Schultz's centennial of his birth, and which is why the number 100 instead of 200 or
Sure.
50 or whatever. And once we settled on a number, there were some things that just immediately sprung to mind. So you start making that list. Well, we have to have this, we have to have that. And with those constraints, you kind of look at the list and kind of go, okay, well, what are we missing from his life? We want a picture of the whole man, not just the cartoonist. So, what are maybe some areas that we need to touch upon and things? And then we start looking for objects to represent different parts of his life. And so that was how we did it.
There are, I don't want to go all Citizen Kane Rosebud here, if you get the reference, but there were some ones that really, out of the 100, that really stood out to me. Again, if you think of that Citizen Kane Rosebud example, one of the items, a couple of them really stood out. One was that his mother, back when he was a young lad growing up in Minnesota, buys him the How to Draw Cartoons book.
Yeah.
Which really stood with him. And I think, Benjamin, I couldn't really choose one, but if I had to choose one item that you did a spotlight on, it would be what he did with integration and the introduction of the African American character, Franklin. I always find a great artist sometimes come up against it, and he was not going to back down on that. So I think if I had to choose one, it'd be that. Explain to our viewers his first touch with integration.
Well, it was in the summer of 1968, and he actually gets a letter from a woman named Harriet Glickman, who actually wrote to several cartoonists and said, things are bad right now. We have to cast our minds back to that summer of 1968, where there was so much racial strife in America and things were boiling over. We have the assassination of Dr. King. And she writes to these cartoonists and says, basically, if you were to include a black character who is just a normal character, not one of these, awful stereotypes that we've seen on the comics pages in the olden days, that would do a lot of good in the world. And Charles Schultz was very thoughtful about that. And he wrote back to her and said, I've considered this before, and I just don't know how I could do it. I'm not confident I could pull it off in a way that wouldn't come across as patronizing. He says that he just wasn't sure, but he opened up the dialogue with her, and she said, well, can I have a couple of my friends write to you also? Because she was actually Jewish and white. And so she had some other people write to him who were black and were able to express, Charles Schultz, you have so much goodwill in the world. Even if you do come across perhaps imperfectly, isn't it worth trying? And that cemented it for Charles Schultz. That really allowed him to be able to create this character and to give himself the latitude to do it and to give himself permission to say, okay, I may not get it 100% right out of the gate, but I'm going to try. And I think that is a really important lesson to come away with.
I love the fact that he, as I said in the question, didn't back down. There was some pushback from obviously some newspapers of various parts of the country, but he stood his ground, which, as I said, you often see these great artists do that. It's amazing to me, too. He starts in 1950, he's in 7 newspapers. By the time he passes away at a young age in 2000, he's in 2,600 papers. I got to say that I'd like to think that he really is kind of like, what he did in his world is really, there's a before and after him. The way I would say probably the same thing about Louis Armstrong and jazz. You agree?
Absolutely. There's hardly anyone working in not just comics, but almost in any graphic form today that doesn't point back to Charles Schulz as an influence.
And it's great too because you've got these 100 items, but you also have commentary from his family, his friends, and the worshiping, as you said, of many cartoonists. I want to mention too, before we go, Benjamin, as I said off the top, I was fortunate enough to visit the museum in Santa Rosa. I also love the town of Santa Rosa. I'd say halfway between Sacramento and San Francisco. Tell our viewers a bit about the museum and why they should make the trek if they're in the neighborhood.
Oh, we have a beautiful museum. We have constantly rotating exhibitions, so there's always something new to see, even if you've been before. And of course, we are in Santa Rosa, like you said, right in the heart of California's beautiful wine country, not too far from the coast. You know, it's a beautiful place to visit. And aside from just coming to see us, of course, at the Schulz Museum.
Yeah, I can't recommend it enough, as I said, being a fan. Hey, the book is Charles M. Schulz, The Art and the Life of Peanuts Creator in 100 Objects. Benjamin, you have fulfilled a dream for me. I got to talk to somebody that knew Schulz because as I said, I'm still a fan after all these years. We thank you very much, Benjamin, for joining us here on Our City Tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
You're quite welcome.
This segment was sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
Well, as we make our way through our 9th year, we're always trying to take some time in episodes occasionally to reach out and do a shout out and a thank you to some of our sponsors and partners who have been with us quite some time. And this next one, crazy guy, has been with us a while.
Our favorite mad scientist, Scott Thompson from Mad Lab Distilling, which is an award-winning local craft distiller. He's actually going to be doing a premium release tasting at the BC Liquor Store located on Alberni and Butte on November 18th. It's actually a whole program that the BC Liquor Store is actually doing, and he's been chosen for his beautiful single malt whiskey to showcase at that location.
Give you a chance, I don't know if you want to, but give you a chance to get up close and personal with Scott
Yes,
Thompson.
you do.
And I don't know if I want to do that, but his spirit's definitely. Lita, website information, people can find out more
Yes,
details.
madlabdistilling.com, and you can also find out more information at the BC Liquor Store website, which I don't have on me, but I'm sure everyone can find that easily. And now, November 18th is when Scott's going to be doing his tastings at the Alberni and Butte store.
Good luck to Scott. Thanks for being a part of Our City Tonight. Well, we're back here at the Coast Cole Harbor Hotel by APA. We are in the Preston's Restaurant and Lounge. I like to kind of sweep in for the latter part of the food and cocktail segments.
You were invited.
I was actually joined by Executive Chef Christopher Jones. And look at this, we've got the master camera now. Look at this display.
Welcome to Our City Tonight.
Thank you for coming. Yes.
Well, my gosh. Let's just jump right into your fabulous menu items here.
Right.
You changed things up a little bit, but this is the now autumn, winter
Yes.
menu.
That's
Tell
correct.
us a little bit about, well, tell us how many times a year you change.
So currently we like to change up our menu about 2 to 3 times a year. Typically during the fall and winter season, we like to, bring in a little bit more heavier, comforting foods. And then once springtime comes around, all that fresh produce and everything kind of starts to pop up, and
Perfect.
it's time to change. And then right around summertime as well, just around then. So then we can catch that summer wave.
And some great choices here. Let's start what seems very far away from where I'm sitting right now.
The
but you've got a
charcuterie
lovely
board,
the charcuterie board, nice kind of a sharing plate.
So yes, this is our charcuterie board, where we like to bring in products from one of our local producers, Two Rivers.
Nice.
Here at Coast, we like to go by the tagline "Refreshingly Local." So reaching out to a lot of our producers in the city and around, and really highlight what they're doing, and this is a great product that they're making over at Two Rivers. And so here we have a nice selection of just kind of what they have in season right now, what they're currently making, that we kind of go with whatever they tell us is good, and then we'll bring it in. And then in addition to that too, we're doing a little bit of a brulee brie to kind of tie in everything nicely there.
That's beautiful. Okay, let's go over here. I know that you also appreciate food allergies, like my gluten-free, and you've said this dish in particular is gluten-free.
Absolutely. So this is our mushroom risotto from mushrooms from Oyster King Farms out in Cloverdale. And so we'd like to, again, working with our suppliers, bring in some of that great product. So we actually, a few of our dishes here are gluten-free, and this would be one of them using, our rice and our arborio rice and mushrooms here, and it's a wonderful dish.
Well, Jim asked the next question.
I was going to say, this looks
here.
like a fantastic layover from Thanksgiving, which we had a few weeks back. Tell us about what you're offering here.
And so heading into the Christmas season, we'll have lots of opportunity to celebrate Christmas here at Preston's with private parties and whatnot. And so one of the dishes that we'll be bringing back for Christmas is our holiday plate. And so I myself, I'm not much of a fan of turkey. It's just, when the holidays come, that's kind of the thing I like to steer away from. However, if I'm going to eat turkey, this is how I'm going to have it. And so here we have our smoked turkey leg croquettes. So we smoke our turkey, we confit it, and then we wrap it up in a nice little croquette and fry it, and it's absolutely to die for. And then for the
I'm listening, Chris.
and for the actual breast as well. So we sous vide the breast as so we can control the cook on it and bring it to the proper temperature so it doesn't dry out.
Yeah. So what's the verdict on that?
Oh, it's not dry. I agree with you at that 100%. That's just succulent everything.
And
right
that
in front
classic,
of me.
yes. That's apparently one of the crowd favorites, right?
Correct. Yes. So we're bringing it back for this winter menu, and it being winter, Vancouver's cozy, rainy weather. You need something that you're able to tuck into. And so what we have here is our ossobuco with a Parmesan polenta. It's very homey. It's just something that you can just dig in with a glass of wine, and then say goodbye to the rain and then go to sleep right afterwards.
That looks incredible. And you also mentioned earlier that that's a gluten-free dish as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, Jim, I get that one and that one. And
Right, but we have one dish left here that's...
yes.
All right,
Incredible.
and then finishing it off with dessert, we have our house-made chocolate pate. And then again, this is a gluten-free offering, and we also have our hazelnut praline and a little bit of toasted marshmallow, and then to kind of tie it all in together, a raspberry sorbet. And it's just again, a lovely way to finish off the evening and then send yourself into a nice slumber.
Nice food coma.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Wow, this is great.
And the wines too.
Oh, the
your
wine. We
house
should mention
wines
wines,
here.
yes.
Jim was going to mention also, which I'm going to steal, happy hour. You have happy hour here for guests of the hotel every day, all day.
Correct. Yes. If you're a guest with us at the hotel, then happy hour is open to you all day, every day. So whether you need to partake for a beverage at 11 a.m., we're ready to.
No one's judging. I mean,
No one's.
But you do have a happy hour for regular customers.
Exactly,
each day,
yes.
Right? So, this great spot down here in Cole Harbour, part of the Coast Hotel by APA group, and we should say, come check this great place out if you're in the Cole Harbour area. Just a great spot here. It's Preston's Restaurant and Lounge. Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming by. Cheers.
Sponsorship and other promotional considerations provided by Bosa Foods, authentic Italian, with 2 locations to serve you better. More information, go to bosafoods.com. This segment is sponsored by our friends at IGL Benefit Consultants, where the benefits are clear.
Well, it is a great pleasure to have our insurance experts back with us. Shannon and Graydon have joined us here again for their next segment. And it's great to be out in Richmond on a lovely rainy day, but we're inside actually at a second generation pub. We are right at the corner of Steveston and Railway in Richmond at the O'Hare's Gastropub and Liquor Store. Guys, a cozy morning here. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. We'll talk more about this wonderful place a little later in the segment. Okay, guys, let's just do a little recap. You were with us midsummer when we were at a lovely wine bar in Chilliwack. Let's give our viewers a little overview of IGL Benefit Consultants. Shannon, we'll start with you.
So IGL Benefit Consultants focuses in the group benefits marketplace, and I believe our area of specialty is in a world of declining service levels. We look to improve service levels. My intention, and I would say that for everyone, is that we don't just email a quote. The relationship begins as a relationship through a virtual meeting or an in-person meeting, and I think that is our area of specialty in the marketplace today.
Yeah, I must say that one thing that you guys all stress is just that personal touch.
Yeah.
That, as you said, you're not mailing something out. And what's great too is that even in a business, say like mine, you see everybody,
Yep.
whether you've got 80 people working for
Yep.
you or one person.
Yeah.
Graydon, let's talk about your relationship with the Chamber of Commerce Insurance Plan. They're a partner of yours. Tell how they fit in with you guys in this marketplace.
Well, we are a full service brokerage, and so we have the opportunity to deal with any insurer. So the Chamber program is one of our offerings, but it is a very unique offering. And it's an offering that for small business, the majority of the time is the right solution. And so it's a very unique program, very unique.
And there's a couple other things I really like about what you guys do. Talk a bit about not-for-profit and pooling. I don't know what the phrase pooling means. Explain that for our viewers.
Okay. The not-for-profit, a lot of times when people hear that, they kind of go, come on. But how the Chamber plan works, it's actually held in a not-for-profit structure. So it's administered separately, but all revenue for the program, a surplus, stays inside that structure. Mm-hmm. So that helps with renewal, that helps with inflation that we're all experiencing. And that's all kind of relates back to the pooling. So there's two aspects to most benefit plans for those people that are familiar. There's your experience rated health and dental, and then there's the fully pooled parts, or the pooled parts, which are the life, long-term disability, short-term. How the Chamber is different is that their pooled benefits are truly pooled nationally.
Okay.
So that's unique. We haven't had a base rate increase in LTD premiums for years, like over a decade.
Right.
That's unusual in the industry. The other aspect is the health and dental. So we pool provincially, and it's true pooled. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter if you're large or small. The pool works together. It's all one pool, and so that's very unique.
And obviously benefits the client.
Very much so. So the stability of our renewal system is unparalleled.
And Shannon, over to you. I want to talk about some programs and partnerships that increase value for you and the clients. Let's talk about employee assistant programs and the business assistance service.
Sure. Okay, so the business assistance service is specifically for owner or manager, and
Okay.
it is a program that provides up to 9 hours every calendar year of telephone advice in the areas of HR, legal, and accounting questions. So as a small business owner, I will typically not have that type of an individual on my staff.
Right.
So this is an opportunity for me to ask questions at the cost of the plan rather than my own.
So I can reach out to you a total of that many hours per
Yep.
year. Okay.
Correct. And then the employee assistance program is exactly what it says it is. It's an assistance program for employees where they can access up to 12 hours of face-to-face counseling every calendar year for issues as they deem necessary. It's up to them. If it's relationship, it's personal, 12 hours is significant in the industry.
Graydon, talk about some of the partnerships you have, including Pocket Pills and Payworks. What are those, and explain the partnerships?
Well, Pocket Pills is just the easiest way to think about it, is a virtual pharmacy, non-bricks and mortar pharmacy. And so it allows our members to dispense prescriptions with home delivery or delivery at work. And the advantage is that there's a 10% increase in the amount reimbursed to the member. So, for example, if you have an 80% drug plan, now you have a 90% drug plan. 90%, you have 100%. So it's really the ease of dispensing.
Shannon, let's talk about Teladoc. One of the things that you pride yourself on is virtual healthcare, which you've been doing long before COVID.
Yeah. Yes. So Teladoc is an app-based platform that partners with the Chamber. And yes, we had virtual healthcare before COVID, which meant a lot to a lot of people.
Sure.
But the Teladoc does what we call a second opinion service, which if I'm in any sort of a serious medical situation, I can request kind of a deep dive into diagnosis, symptoms, and treatment and have that reviewed by a peer-chosen best doctor. And then we have a mental health navigator, which is very new. I think it's a response from Teladoc to a lot of the mental health concerns occurring right now. And I'm in a diagnosis, a mental health diagnosis. I can have the same thing done there. I can have a professional walk me through that diagnosis, treatment modalities, medications, and provide context around some improvements or ways to have a better outcome. So the Teladoc is just one of the many things that I think just puts us, the Chamber plan, just that one step above for small business.
Hey, before we leave, we should give a shout out to the folks that are hosting us here today. One of your clients, it's Aaron and Grant at O'Hare's Gastropub and Liquor Store. Been serving customers in Richmond here at the basically the corner of Steveston and Railway since 1987. Come check this cozy spot out in Richmond. And again, thanks to them for hosting us here. And thank you to Shannon and Grain for another great insurance segment here on Our City Tonight.
This segment was sponsored by our friends at IGL Benefit Consultants, where the benefits are clear. Closed captioning and other promotional considerations provided by Hamilton High Street Senior Residence, Richmond's newest senior living community.
Well, we are back here where we began the show in the Shipyards district of Lonsdale Quay in North Van.
Yeah, but it's time to say goodbye.
It is. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
We will see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Don't forget to check out past episodes and individual interviews, all on the Our City Tonight YouTube channel. The Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.